Audio input. Microphone Yeti Classic. Boom. Okay. And come on. How come nothing ever works when I want it? Oh, 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 oh. We're fine. We're fine. We're good. Oh, I just changed that, didn't I? BDC doesn't know what he's doing. All right, hang on a second. Oh, yep. See, there we are. All right, hang on just a second. Let's listen to the echo chamber. We're fine. We're good. Oh, I just changed that, didn't I? I was trying to test things out because every once in a while, I don't know if it's my computer or OBS decides, well, let's just mess with him and change things around and take the audio out and change the video over here, or this little snippet doesn't work. Yes, I'm looking at a video of what we're doing. What I've got up actually is the map of Faerun. Welcome to the Magic Tavern for now. And I say that because we're under construction. You look behind me. I don't have any cool setup or anything yet. We are working that direction, but I don't see any reason until I move. So looking at moving someday really soon. Really soon, please, God. Please, please. I want to settle in somewhere so I can get... So everything's not... Oh, hello. What did I do? I hit something the wrong way. I'd rather have the map up. Okay, there we go. Okay. And Coromir, how about that? Anyway, we are talking rebrand. So I'm not a big fan of it, but it may be something we need to do. One of the problems we have is that certain entities in Facebook have decided that I don't get to post there anymore. So if you're a part of our Facebook page, I'm sorry, Facebook doesn't want you involved. Or doesn't want me involved. So I can't post new things, new and cool news like, what was the news snippet? It was, they've got a big deal coming up with 3 hosts in shadows, and it's going to be a D&D MTG crossover of some extent, and they haven't told us anything. They're going to give us clues, they said. I haven't seen any clues yet. So we got a possible MTG plane about to get a book like Theros Guide, or a Strixhaven, which wasn't really big, but like Theros got a nice book. If I were a guessing man, and I'm probably not a good guesser in this situation, I would think that Dominaria would be a good choice right now, because Dominaria is going to be, in the next 2 sets of MTG, going to be the focus of WotC on that end. So why not suddenly pop a book out from maybe next year or the year next? They're just announcing it right now. It's probably not going to happen too quickly, unfortunately. But Dominaria would be a good choice. There's a lot that's happened on there. It's the pet plane of D&D. I think it's where it all began and where a lot of the action has happened. So they get a lot of things they can throw in there, sort of like Exandria. You know, you've got so much lore and cool stuff that you could add into it. But that's just my guess. Now it could be another D&D set. Sorry, D&D set in MTG. It could, or it could be both. We got Baldur's Gate. We got Adventures in the Forgotten Realms so far. There's plenty of other places like Waterdeep, Coromir. Looking at the screen there, Coromir. Lots. Listen, I have been studying up, boning up on Faerun for the last 6 to 8 months. Actually, before that, we had decided we were going to do that probably at the beginning of this year. And so for the last 8 months, I have been digging through everything. And I'm like, I know everything about Faerun. We played in 3.5. What could I not know? And apparently it was a lot. Oh my gosh, it was a lot. And it would scare a normal person away, but I am far from normal. Just ask the rest of the Magic Tavern. Um, so they're doing something MTG D&D again, which they should. They own both properties. They can spout stuff like they can print stuff like that, like they can print money. I'm telling you. Love the Forgotten Realms set. I love the Baldur's Gate set that just came out. Next year, be they do it once a year. They really should do it once a year. Do a big D&D set. But as for MTG Worlds getting D&D settings, I'm all for that too, because I love what are they called? The plane something. I forget what it's called. The little mini sets that they did, just kind of giving a few ideas and a few numbers and stuff from different planes. Those are cool, but not as cool as, say, the Theros book. I almost got to play there once. Steps, hope you're watching. We've been playing the D&D game since, I guess, from the beginning of the year. February, March-ish. And when we started out in Strahd, and it ended a little earlier than the DM expected. Won't go into that right now. Still a little sore subject. But we ended up, we're in the Princes of the Apocalypse storyline right now. And it's really strange because I've been able, most of them stayed with the same character. I switched characters going into the new game, and I always forget what it's called. Songblade? Anyway, Songblade Wizard, whatever, who carries a sword, sings while he casts spells and slices people, dices people. He's fun. I played a full elf, sort of like what we're going to be talking about some tonight. Oh, and I forgot. I'm supposed to let Yohdood know. I'm supposed to let him know that we can get together anytime. So that brings us to what we're doing here, as I also try to message him while I talk. Like I said, we've had this game trying to get it planned, and it's just been a nightmare. Life sucks sometimes, and I won't go into that because you have your own life that sucks scenario. I understand that. Whenever you, especially if you decide to do something creative and something concrete, I'll guarantee you, I will guarantee you that life will align itself against you and try to stop you. That's one sure way you know you're doing something. Well, actually, that's not totally true, because you can be doing absolutely nothing and life can align itself to you. Against you, excuse me. So we've been dealing with that all year, but we're going to get this game started this month. Probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. Well, definitely in just 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to do it this month, excuse me. And we are calling it, for lack of a better term right now, we've been calling it Uncut Gems. And I've been doing Xero sessions since April, May, maybe, yeah, April or May. And I talked to all the characters. And I still haven't sent him a message. I could go send him a message, and I think, I need to say something more to the Pepples. Oh, I love the Pepples. They're so, anyway. You know what I need to do? If I'm going to talk to the Yohdood, I am going to need to be on Discord. You want to see? Well, it's not my picture, folks, mind you. But this is what I think Ron looks like. He's a young elf, quote unquote. He's been around, what's it, 70 to 80 years, which means he's just coming to the point they might consider him an adult. It irritates him when they treat him like a child. But he's not the elf in question today. Got so much going on here today. We want to talk about the game. The game's afoot. Why is the game afoot? Um, so we have this game we've been playing since the beginning of the year. We decided, number one, we wanted to be in Faerun because we'd played 3.5, 3 and 3.5 um, when they were younger, and we absolutely loved playing in that world. Although, and that's why I decided to start in Coromir because we never went there because there were websites devoted to games there, and so I'm like, wow, man, somebody really is beating that game to that place to death. Let's go somewhere else. But I decided Coromir would be an interesting place to start in a place called Prosker, this is what they decided now, right there, Prosker, along the high road in the Overmore Trail, a caravan town on the edge. Used to be on the frontier, but now Coromir used to be Coromir came to right here. This little boot has just come about. Since the war, they have focused themselves south and taken. I mean, they really. It doesn't say this anywhere. This is not canon. Hang on a second. Make sure I'm watching. Boop. Try to watch for Yohdood. I told him anytime. Say Discord. I know you're like, get on with it. Quit texting. Sounds like you're having to deal with teenagers here. Doesn't say anywhere, but I have this feeling that some of these nobles are looking to take the whole Dragonmere as far as they can, which they've gotten to Tazir. They haven't got to Redancer. I think it's interesting. It's interesting. Smuggler's Bank and Westgate, and Redwater. These four. Oh, sorry, and a card. I have never seen that down there. Never noticed it. And of course, Starmal's a ruin, and we may get to that. So I think if they're truly expansionists, they're trying to push the Queen to push further east and take this whole area through here, the civilized part at least. And then they will be really close neighbors with the Shining Plains, which will probably come up. Let's see. So we decided to play in Faerun. We chose Coromir and Prosker. We also decided no pre-apocalyptic storylines. In other words, we don't want to begin the game with the apocalypse on top of us. I'm really bad about going for that because it pushes the story along, if you know what I mean. And it's easy to deal with. Oh my God, we got to save the world. Although, excuse me, they may end up in situations where they will think that about this. This is not quite the same thing. The characters they picked kind of pushed me to think more of a espionage spy kind of thing. That's why the info merchant is really important in this. One we'll be talking about today. Excuse me. Oh goodness! Now I got the yawnies. So far, and actually we've talked to everybody, like I said, who's going to play. Although Panda's never sat with us, because I've got to decide exactly how much we talk about his character, because he's got a lot of backstory that I think we want to just kind of move into. You get little tidbits. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go, kind of thing. But anyway, Panda's playing Jono Thornwillow, which may or may not be his real name. Mm-hmm. He is a halfling fighter. Playing the Echo Knight? Is that what? No. It's not the Echo Knight. It's the Rune Knight. Excuse me. Of course, passed down from his father, who actually met with the giants at one time, according to legend, and has a few runes in his back pocket on his notebook that he gave his son. And his son, poring over these runes, has learned the ways of the stone and fire rune. And of course, that's going to come into play, which reminds me I have some work to do on that end. Then Halkid, our good buddy Halkid, is going to play Halman Ironcaller. Please, gracious man, this is Jan on stream. Dinner catching up to me, I guess. Halman Ironcaller, if you can't guess, he's a dwarf whose family used to be part of the Iron Throne, so the Iron House, excuse me, I got that wrong. The Iron House, which, and I can show you, reigned along these mountain ranges from where it said the top of this mountain range, which you see the Mayans of Tethyamar. Those are ruins now, but they belong to the dwarfs. All the way down to the Sunset Mountains, which there's a huge contingency of dwarfs that live behind and under Fort Helm. They also some in the Thunder Peaks, but not anymore. For the most part, most of the dwarfs have been driven to this one area right here because the monsters, wars, plagues, dragons, their kingdom, the Iron House, has diminished greatly, but the Ironcallers harken back to that great day. Steps, our leader, is playing an Alan wizard from Strixhaven. I'll throw you a curveball. His name is, I gotta remember how you pronounced this last night, because I said Larson and he corrected me. Larson, maybe. Evan Flock. He is, all he's known up to now about Faerun comes out of books, and he's, almost follows the stories that they like, and the Red Wizards like we do Lord of the Rings, reading Tolkien and whatnot. And you can find videos where I talked to him about that, and I also talked to Lexi, Step's wife, about playing a Genasi Warlock. Of course, Genie Patron. What else, right? Her name is Aileen. She may go by the name Onyx. I don't know. I didn't hear the final process of that, but there's a video about that on here. And Halkid, I'm sorry. I've apologized already about this. He's already forgiven me, but I tried 3 times to record a conversation about his family and the dwarfs, and it never came out. So I may have to do some videos on that, just to talk about his people. Now that I know more about it, when we did that, I didn't know so much about the Iron House, the dwarfs of Cormyr, or what good stock Halman's people came from. Now, in the beginning, we also had Yohdood, and if you don't know Yohdood, hang on a second. Hang on a second. I've got to get a... I wonder if he comes up. The Indie Darling. There he is. He's on Twitter. He's on Twitch. I will share. I'll share links, because it's only fair. Okay, first off, there's his Twitch. And then, hang on a minute. Hello. And go check out his Twitter. That's where you'll find a lot of the cool stuff. But he doesn't call himself the Indie Darling for nothing. He calls himself that because he loves indies. If you're tired, here's my commercial for you. I was thinking about this, Yohdood. If you're tired of the same old, the same old big company games, year after year, and remakes and reboots and remasters, maybe check out some indies. And as you're doing this, check out the two links. Yohdood, the indie darling. He plays things like Celeste, Binding Isaac. I don't think of some of the others because I don't play very many video games. I am sorry. I love video games. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have time for them. I spend so much time in D&D that I just don't have time to play a game. Although we've talked about playing Baldur's Gate as a group. So if you want to see that happen, let me know. But if you're tired of all of that, you might want to check out Yohdood because he actually loves indie games, promotes them, supports them, talks to developers, gets some passes every once in a while that people can't get, and you go check him out. Go check out those links. Go find out what he's talking about because he brings games out that I've never heard of, but I've watched him play some of them, and they're pretty damn cool. So yeah. Check him out. But anyway, Yohdood and the Queen. And if you listen to Yohdood long enough, you'll know who the Queen is. I won't have to be discussing and explaining. The point is, both of them were talking about playing this game, and I was what am I saying? I was super excited to have Panda, Hawkhead, Steps and Lexi, and then also Yohdood and the Queen playing this game. Well, because of other obligations and things just didn't work out, that they both had to back out of it. But because of the way I write and the way the organic nature of the stories, I had I kept his character at least. I had two options here. Since he couldn't play, I thought maybe, hang on a second, maybe I could go ahead and just maybe call him a different name, and it's his character, but it's not really his character. I'll play it, and that's the easier way. Write him out of it, right? But then I started thinking about it, and the character Zaya had entrenched himself so deeply in this storyline already, I couldn't extract him completely. And instead of, generic elf here kind of thing, I decided, and we were talking this weekend, he was helping me with a personal project, and he was like, yeah, I'll sit down and talk about my character. And I thought, well, why should we be doing this? He's not going to play. And then I started thinking about it. It is his character, and he could give so much depth to it, and maybe give me some kind of insight of how I should play him as an NPC. I won't do him as good as Yohdood, no doubt. I really want to find a game that I can pull him into somewhere down the road, but not ready for this first one. Maybe the second one. And we will be playing probably the rest of our lives. Yes. So, talking Saturday, he's like, yeah, we should sit down just like you did with everybody else and talk about the character. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, actually. Let's give the character some depth, some life. And who better than the one who originally created it? Haven't heard from him yet. Let me see if he's answered. He may have went to sleep. Just for odd hours. He's between jobs and has been interviewing incessantly, and so he may be quite tired. So if he doesn't, we're just going to keep talking until he shows up, if he shows up. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the build part. Okay. Hang on a second. I can get this off here. All right. Zaya got heavily entrenched into a noble family back a while. Let's go look this up because I need to know the dates. he brought this. It's really funny. Okay, okay. Let's go back to the beginning. Hang on a second. Okay, this all goes back to the way D&D stories write themselves, and it's very dangerous because usually I play it a little loosey goosey. I've got an overall idea of what's going on and the motives of different parts of the world, and they decide where to go. It's a sandbox kind of thing. In this situation, it was like, I can't let's just go willy nilly. Got to have some kind of closure and structure, and so I started looking toward the end of the game and the middle of the game and trying to make his go comprehensive. No, man, my brain. Try to make some sense of it. But usually, something I call the natural progression of a story, which is also why I think I'd be I'd be a great sequel guy. I'd literally be the guy that they always came to and said, we got all this situation going on and we want to do another season, but we don't know where to go from it. Hey, I'm like, you know what? I got some ideas. Usually I watch something, and a lot of times I'm wrong because I'm not the writer. I'm like, this is where I'd take it. And they take it where they want it, where they see it. It's a different thing. But in D&D, you've got a unique storytelling device. First, the DM either picks a setting or creates a setting. Duh, right? We picked Faerun. We could have been in Asheray, which is my homebrew world. We could have picked Exandria. We could have picked so many different things. That's the first element, is the setting, obviously. So Faerun, I started reading up on the history, trying to get, because another thing that I decided to do, because of the theme, I looked up the years, and Watsy does something interesting with D&D years, and I'm still not 100% sure. Hang on, we can find out. I know I'm all over the place here. I am getting to something here. D&D structures their worlds and their years, really strangely. I think it's in the DM's guide. Where you at? Where you at? Hello. There it is. That's your master's guide. Let's see if they have. They've got to have it in here. That's got to be where it's at. Boop. A world of your own. Big picture gods, mapping, settlements, languages, factions, magic, creating campaign events. Playstyle. See, that's not. Okay, well, just forget that. We'll just do it this way, like I always do it. Faerun, timeline, and I always throw a D&D there to keep them straight. Official timeline. This is where I always go to. May not be the best place to come with, but this is where I draw my information from. Let's go away. And they've got all these. No, it's down here. They've got all the years. Oh, I see. Where is the. All the years have names, is what I'm trying to get at. This is just big. So all the years have names. So if they talk about a year, they don't go, and they may say 1329, the year of, and there'll be a name. So they have a few of them here from 1494 to 1509. We're playing in, wait a minute, well, 1489, around about it. If you go back up here, that's where it tells me. They seem to know what they're doing. We're playing Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale set in the winter of 1489 DR or later, likely 1492. Descent in Avernus 1494. Acquisitions Incorporated 1496. I'm not sure why they really need to put them in there. 1492 Candlekeep. 1492 Dragon of what? The Essentials Kit. I never heard of The Mad Mage, 1492. So 1492 is like the fifth edition setting, pretty close to it. You got Strahd at 1491, Pitts Apocalypse 1491, which we're playing right now. So 1491, 1492 seems to be the go-to years. So taking that in consideration, they give the future years. This is what this is. Starting with the year negative 700 DR, each year has a distinct and often poetic name, such as 1385 DR, Year of the Blue Flame, when the spell plague begins. The names of years, both past and future, were written by two prophecies from different eras. The first comes from Agathra, the Mad. Agathra the Mad. And the second from, hey, Yohdood. Okay, so he's waiting on my call. So we'll get to that in a minute. We can always get into, hello, is someone there? Do I have it muted? Nope, hey. I don't have it muted. Hello? Hello? Oh, wait. Join
Hello.
call. There we are. Okay, I hit the wrong button.
It's all good.
All right, let me check the streamer OBS and make sure you're on. Say something.
Something.
Yeah, you're on there actually. And then I can double check this one here. Point they might consider him an adult. Because we'd played 3.5 for Yohdood. I told him anytime and fire a rune, Yohdood. If you're tired of the same old same, may not be the best place to come with. But always get into, hello, is someone there?
Hello.
There we are. All right, okay, I can hear him. All right, I can hear you. As we'll make sure, because I have had full-on conversations for an hour with someone and not had you on stream. So the old man's got to make sure. All
It's
right,
all good.
Let's pop that back on there. We've been rambling about the game, of course. Cormyr in particular, and some of the things that we decided early on. Right. And I was talking about things that drove the story. Let's say it that way. Number one, I chose a future year, kind of.
Okay.
Most of the books that are written now, the adventures are in like 1492. DR is how they keep time in this one.
Right.
And I chose, because of the theme of the year, because all the years have names, right? I chose 1507, the year of the glowing onyx. It was on point, and I'm like, why not? And so that's one of the things I did was choose that year. Now that shoots us into the future a bit. If we talk about 1492, we're talking about 15 years in the future. Not very far. Not a lot happens between here and there, but changes of dynasty, or not a lot of that, but maybe growth, new conflicts. You never know.
Right.
So that drove the story right there, and I'm kind of glad I did that. It gives us leeway and keeps people going. That's not the way it was. I know, because it's the way it is.
Right.
Not that, of course, it's my multiverse. I'll do what I want.
Right. It's my campaign, and I'll do what I want to.
Heck yeah. It's my theory. Every time somebody picks up the DM's guide and starts flipping through it, it's a new universe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is the beauty of D&D.
Right.
And then you guys start giving me character ideas. I've got Panda here living with me, so about every once in a while, every day or two, he'll walk through here, he'll go, Jono this or Jono that, his character.
Right.
And so I hear a lot from him. And I try not to let too much of it be driven by just him because number one, I want everyone represented. It's a stew. It's not one entree.
Right.
So everything that Panda's given me, everything that Hawkhead's given me, and Steps and Lexi have given me, have went into the stew, if you will, to create the story that's coming. And I'm telling you, this is quite an interesting journey we've got ahead of us.
Right.
And then, yeah, you guys started at creating characters. You gave me some more information. I didn't get much from the Queen at the beginning, and then you guys had to change your plans.
Yeah.
But things you came up with from the beginning,
Right.
it stuck, and it became an organic part of the story that I could not get it out.
Right.
It made beautiful sense, and plus that nobody picked Rogue, so I'm like, okay, I'll play it as an NPC. It's not a big deal. And we were talking this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, we could sit down and talk about it. And my first thought was, well, he's not going to be playing it. But then I started thinking about it, and I'm going, you know what? Yeah, that'll give the character more depth. Give me some cues on how to play him,
Right.
and he can help me grow him along the way.
Sure.
Keep me straight.
Try to stay in tune with everything.
Yeah, that's how I'll make you have to watch it. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Um,
Can't be the worst of how I make you watch my stuff. I'll just turn it on and stick it in front of you.
yeah. Oh, that's all good. We were just talking about and trying to give you a little commercial because trying to when I mentioned you, I figured I might as well mention where they can find you
Mm-hmm.
and what you actually do
Right.
online on stream. But anyway, we talked about you coming on here and talking about Zaya Ihair. Am I getting it right?
Well, the character is derivative of a character from an anime called Durarara,
Mm-hmm.
which is where like I first picked up the character, if you will.
I got you.
His name is Izaya Orihara, so I'm just trying to not exactly, I don't want to say anagram his name or anything. We just kind of dropped the E, which is just Zaya. So I thought that sounded more medieval, I guess.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
That. Ugh. Oh, I'm using the wrong thing now. Sorry, I'm editing while we're talking.
That's fine.
That's what I want. I don't remember his last name could change to whatever you need it to be. To be honest with you,
and to be honest, they may never know his last name.
Yeah,
he's pretty close to the cuff with information. He may not want them to know so much.
Yeah, my last name is not important.
No, no, not to the story, but his story is an integral part of what's going on. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But what stuck was you brought up the gold feathers. You remember doing that?
I do, yeah.
And it was funny because as the DM, I've got all these ideas going on my own, and then you guys start throwing in the stew, and it gets me thinking, and I start researching. And you said gold feather. I start researching, and I realized that it made so much sense for the whole overall story that was developing. I was looking up the gold feathers, by the way.
Right.
I wanted to see the year. An elf being a long-lived creature, being.
Right.
He was around the first time the gold feathers were nobles.
Right.
House Goldfeather. It says, I'll just read it right off here, was a Cormyrean noble house whose last living noble was executed for treason in 1191. And that's not totally true. It says last known living noble.
Right.
But if you read the new stuff, it's not true because It says down here in 1492, the house was ennobled again
Mm-hmm.
by King Azun V. The gold feathers further enhanced their ties to the crown when the prince married Ospra, the daughter of the house's leader.
Right.
So that's all happening. That was in 2012 in Dungeon. Oh, Backdrop Suzelle, yes. I've read through that several times.
Back when the Mayan calendar was ending.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So, I'll pitch this out here, and I think it works for the story. I don't think it's going to not be to your liking.
Okay.
Zaya was like a main informant and had a lot to do with the gold feather regime. They were nobles. They weren't royals, but they were nobles.
Right.
And he knew a lot about what was going on, and he was so entrenched with them that he couldn't separate himself from people. People saw him as a part of the gold feather house,
Mm.
gold feather.
Right.
Just like you were on the inside. You were in the know when it come to house gold feather. So when stuff went down,
Right.
and they started executing nobles and exiling the rest, you just happened to be a part of the rabble that they're like, nope, you're a part of the house Goldfeather. Hit the road.
Mm.
And you really don't know what happened. They don't believe that. They have a hard time believing that a person in the know like you were, even then, you may have been on your early years of roguedom. You may not have been as good as you are now,
Right.
but they still expected you to have known more. So it's like when you can say it all you want, they didn't believe that you didn't know what was going on.
Mm.
But they did let you live. They allowed
nice.
you. Yeah, really nice, really nice. And a few of the nobles apparently lived. I don't think they executed all of them. The ones they caught that they could prove were being treasonous, they probably executed, but the others were let go, and it come back around to Lady Ospra becoming the queen regent of all of Coromir, and that just sets in your craw really weird. Because now, yeah, go ahead.
It's very strange. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, just suddenly, it's as it said, and I will.
Suddenly, it's cool to be a gold feather again.
Yes, just out of nowhere in 1442, they're ennobled again, and then further ennobled by being married to the Prince Regent. And now, another thing, and you're naturally suspicious of everybody.
Right.
Everything's probably a conspiracy, and you're about convinced of that. But
I
this
can prove most of it.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you've dug a lot of conspiracies up. The natural history of the Lady Ospra and see if I can say this name right, the Oberskir family. After she was married to Prince Ervel, within one day, not that same day they got married, mind you.
Right.
Within one day later on, both King Azun and Prince Ervel died in different ways.
Right.
I think part of it was an attack from enemies. So it's not like really super suspicious, but you're like, okay, the gold feathers, disenfranchised from nobility, suddenly return. And within little or no time, the king and the prince both meet their demise, and she's left with the kids. She is the queen regent, and in fact controls everything until the prince is old enough. So that really, really get you, and you've been digging into it.
Mm-hmm.
You've been trying to get close in and try to find out what they did, and if it
Right.
has anything to do with what's going on now, because it just doesn't make any sense that there's not something going on. And then, of course, you got too close, and people who get too close to conspiracies a lot of time disappear.
When
You,
they're true.
yeah, when you're smart and quick as you got out and ran,
Mm-hmm.
leaving Suzelle, which is probably where all the information, all the bodies are buried, right?
Mm-hmm.
You went down south, escaping assassins that were sent, you assumed, by uh, the Queen Regent,
Right.
and they will may or may not catch up with you in Prosker. We'll see what happens at the beginning of the game.
Right. All right.
But does that sound about right?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds about like what I wanted to be. Yeah.
it's really funny because once you said Goldfeather, it all just started dropping into place, and it's like um, WotC, or let's just say D&D lore
Right.
is like that, right? They drop a bunch of information in some of these books, but they obviously leave things open for the DM to have a little leeway.
Mm.
And so they left this wide open for this story, and it's like, oh, that's what's going on.
Right. Yeah, it was just really strange to me, like reading everything and wanting to be the type of character I wanted to be. I knew I had to kind of be in the know. So when
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of interested in getting involved, I took a lot of time to read everything you gave me, everything I could find,
Mm-hmm.
and it just did not make any sense to me how they just magically came back out of nowhere for no reason, seemingly.
Yep. Yeah, and see, let's see, where was that from? That was from that. I've got that. Was it dungeon number 198? Let's see what it actually says, because it probably just says that.
Hmm.
More than likely. Okay. All D&D source books. Dungeons and Dragon Magazine. Dungeon 198. I know you're there. I know you're there because I've got it. 198. Told you. All right. Oh, let's try to do this the right way. Huh. There's so much. Maybe I should read a little bit more of this. I haven't seen that part. Anyway, there's something about Suzelle down here. That did a lot of work on. So there's King Forel, which is the king who died, King Forel Overscare.
Hmm.
I have to read all that. I don't know how I could have missed that. There's the succession of Coromir, and down here in the bottom, there's
Yeah.
Urvel and Ospra and their two children, Barovis and Redra, um, which I knew about. Not just discovering that. Okay, maybe I should have looked at the. So this is, oh, there it is. Backdrop Suzelle. Actually, I might be
Hmm.
able to just go. Oh, sorry. Goldfeather. All right. Da-da-da. The crown prince's wife is the radiantly beautiful Ospra Goldfeather, daughter of a house that rises and falls in the crown's favor every century or two. um, though a skilled politician, the Princess Ospra has little ability to manipulate her husband, although he's not there to manipulate anymore.
Right.
However, she has become the darling of King Forel, who listens to her counsel nearly as readily as he does his own sons. She is of the last branch of the Goldfeather house. Her father, Ordman Goldfeather, called Old Man Goldfeather by most. There's his sister, her aunt Adenia, and Adenia's children, a couple of kids in that bloodline. So that's what's left of the Goldfeathers, totally.
Hmm. Hmm.
Da, 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 da. Hang on a second. Boop. So it just plops her in here. It's like they brought her in to fourth edition without any they're in and out of favor. Of course, court politics is like that.
Yeah.
Although a lot of times, if you prove to be traitorous, it's hard to get back into good graces so easily. It still seems a little strange. There it is.
Right.
Okay, maybe we've got some timeline here, a little more than. Let me write this down. In 1448. I don't care what the name of, because that doesn't mean anything to me right now. Prince Ervel and Osprey married.
Mm-hmm.
Which would make her at least, she's upwards into her 60s to 70s. She's not a young thing anymore.
Right.
Let's see what else. Berovis was born in 1454. And then, oh, that's fine. And there's a map with the gold feather state onto it. I knew this. I've read so much
Right.
that you get lost in it if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they just plop her down in here. And, I mean, it's not like everything's been forgiven. Some of these houses are still highly suspicious of her, don't like her. But right now, they don't have any choice.
Yeah.
If you want to deal with the crown, you got to deal with her. The gold feathers have a long scandal-ridden history, twice stripped of their nobility. I forgot there was another one. They most recently regained it under Azun V in 1442. Okay. 1442, 6 years before she married the prince. The gold feathers are back. 6 years later, the family's fortune took a strong turn for the better when the prince married her. That's one way of saying it.
Yeah.
The marriage caused quite a fervor among the other nobles, especially the crown silvers, who did everything in their power to prevent this union.
I bet they did.
Oh, you know it. You know it, because, it's like, why not the crown silvers? Why the gold feathers? I'm sure that the talk of the court was all about this. Of course, hush whispers. You don't want to get too loud because the prince might have you beheaded. It's not that bad, but you really don't want to go against the crown, period.
Mm-hmm.
Gold feathers are not forgiven the crown silvers for this slight. So they're not in the good graces of Lady Osprey. And look for any opportunity to embarrass that royal house. Despite their vacillating wealth and the opposition to many of the noble houses, the gold feathers are, for once, steadfast loyal to the crown.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you can tell. Perhaps aware of the tenuous position her family holds in the city, Osprey refuses to advocate for her father, which greatly limits the family's influence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the gold feathers are back. You don't hear a lot about the gold feathers because it's all Osprey and her children now, which are the crown. So anyway, history lesson over. I'll keep it up there. I need to read the rest of this. I know I've read it once before, but I got to get back in it. So much information. So that brings us up to the present time. Well, present time, 1507 DR, not the present time, but the present for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll pick up the story after that. But as for the character, obviously he's a rogue. We've already talked about that.
Oh, yeah?
He's an info merchant.
Yes.
He buys
info broker.
A broker,
Same difference.
Yeah. He's a facilitator of vast amounts of information.
If the coin is right.
like any good rogue. Um, absolutely. So I'll the other thing I was looking at, and I was supposed to get. I'm pulling this over here. Let's see. Well, number one, he's an elf. So I've got the traits of the elf. I got so much stuff going on. There we go. I've already got 3 notebooks. I've started on my 3rd notebook on this game, believe it or not.
Jesus.
And yet I've got a bunch of files digitally. So I don't. But a lot of times, I was told if you type it, I guess might be the same as writing it. But if you write it down, you remember it twice as much. And if you read it off and hear it aloud, it's twice as much more. Or it's just better.
Mm-hmm.
So as the high elf, he's got great dexterity.
Yes.
Oh, that's. I was gonna say. Wait, I was gonna say how old he was, but that's my character. I'm playing a high elf in the game with the Grands.
Yeah.
But he's a baby elf. He's like 80, 70, 80 years old.
I'm actually not that old, but
Well, okay.
no. I mean, like, I'm agreeing with you. Sorry,
Okay.
might be.
Well, 70 or 80 years old is just barely coming to the point where they're considering you may be an adult soon. I don't know how that works. Now, the humans are different. Of course, humans see. Let me show you the picture I picked. That's Ron, Rawn, and yeah, he's a rascal.
Oh, I'm not on your stream. Hang on.
Oh, that's okay.
I just jumped on the Discord.
I assume everyone's watching.
All about the fact that you're streaming.
It's okay.
You're on YouTube. That's why I'm not finding it.
Yeah. I said, yeah.
I was like, I don't remember unfollowing. I don't know why I would have.
It's all good.
Shiba's there they are. Okay.
But reading
Mm-hmm.
About elves' life spans,
Right.
it's like around 80-ish. They are finally considered by the elven community, at least, to be adults. So he's still just almost there.
Yeah.
And so the humans see him differently. He looks like this, so he still looks kind of young.
Yeah.
But the elves definitely see him as almost like a child or a teenager or something. He's and he acts it, so it's fair. But anyway, so how old your elf has been around a while?
Yeah.
Because he was around when the last Gold Feathers got kicked out in 11 something.
Yeah.
Which means probably 350 some odd years ago. That's
right.
So which to an elf, that's not such a big deal. I mean, anybody else it would be, of course, but an elf, 300, 400 years, gnomes, that kind of thing. Long lived. They've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see, alignment. I don't get into alignments. He is who he is. Medium size, of course. Speed of 30. Dark vision, of course. He's got proficiency in perception, which is a good start for your build. He's got Fey ancestry. Obviously, he's got advantage on being charmed, and magic can't put him to sleep.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually sleep. Elves have this trance state they go in for 4 hours a day.
That was, I believe, the main reason why I wanted to be an elf.
Ron is awesome because we start talking about watches. It's like, well, somebody needs to watch for 4 hours because I'm going to be up the rest of the time. It's real handy. It's real handy. It is.
Yeah.
And of course, languages. You pick a sub race, which we've already have. He's a high elf, which means he gets perks to his intelligence because he's an high elf.
And
Right.
close to his douchebagness.
Oh, and the panda has
Now there's plenty of that. Don't worry about that one.
yeah, he says the douchebaggery is coming.
I got that in spades.
What is it they say on Critical Role? The fuckery?
Yeah.
Yep, there's plenty of that to go around. You're proficient with a long sword, short bow, and long bow at least, because that's high elves are trained in those.
Yeah.
You get to pick, one cantrip of your choice in the wizard list, and you get an extra language. That's what you get. That's what you get.
Okay.
Let's see, extra
When you
language.
let your heart win.
Yeah, no, that's what you get for being greedy. Anyway, one of the games we ran in my homebrew world started out being sort of an idea for a heist, but it got way off of that. But they started in a casino because all of them owed the guy who owned it. And it was a great start. It was a great game. It just that was one of the songs I picked up. In fact, the playlist for it, if you want to go onto my Spotify, is That's What You Get. I've been listening to that. That's all. Okay. So we have all that. That's easy peasy.
Yeah.
Of course he's a rogue, so he gets all of that. All the fun stuff that rogues get. So I won't go into all of it because most of you who listen know rogues very well.
Right.
The question we started asking was, what subclass? Of course, as Panda piped up, the one that made sense was called the Inquisitive.
Okay.
Which is in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. No, sorry, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. There we go. I'll read the first description and see if you don't agree. As an archetypal inquisitive, you excel at rooting out secrets and unraveling mysteries. You rely on your sharp eye for detail, but also on your finely honed ability to read the words and deeds of other creatures to determine their true intent. You excel at defeating creatures that hide among and prey upon ordinary folk, and your mastery of lore and your keen deductions make you well equipped to expose and end hidden evils.
If the coin is right.
If the coin, yeah.
Yes.
I assume that phrase goes to the end of everything, so that's cool.
You'll hear it a lot.
Yep. The abilities he gets at third level, which we're going to start at third level. I did that so that we would all come into our subclasses fresh and ready to go. The first one at third level is called Ear for Deceit. When you choose this archetype at third level, you develop a talent for picking out lies. Whenever you make a wisdom insight check to determine whether a creature is lying, you treat the roll of a 7 or lower as an 8. So you cannot roll any less than an 8. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but then when you add your tremendous insight numbers, you'll be okay. You'll sniff out most of the lies.
Right.
You also get an eye for detail. You can use a bonus action to make a wisdom perception check to spot a hidden creature or object, or make an intelligence investigation to uncover or decipher clues. So that'll come in handy when it comes to weeding out things and lots of different situations there, actually. Still, there's one more thing you get at third level. Yeah, it's really cool. Insightful fighting. At third level, you gain the ability to decipher an opponent's tactics and develop a counter for them. As a bonus action, you can make a wisdom insight check against the creature you can see that isn't incapacitated, contested by the target's charisma, a deception check.
Okay.
If you succeed, and more than likely you will, you can use your sneak attack against that target, even if you don't have advantage on the attack roll.
Nice.
So you just outright get to try to murk the guy. You don't have to have any of the special stuff that you usually do, unless you have disadvantage on the attack. It says, and that's the only
That
reason.
sounds like last resort.
Yeah, yeah.
I've told you before, Zaya is the type of character that would fucking despise to get his hands dirty.
Basically, yeah. He would be. It sounds like the Inquisitive. He's in the back. He's in the shadows. He's watching everything, and then when he's like, this guy or this tactic against this enemy, and just comes out of nowhere for a big kill.
Sure.
That sounds like his kind of character.
And if I absolutely have to,
I totally understand you.
good. I do not want to get my hand like above everything else. I will run from a fight before I kill someone if I have to.
Unless you have to.
Not because I'm a pacifist. I just don't want to deal with it.
Oh no! Oh no! I understand completely. At ninth level, you get what's called a steady eye. You have advantage on any wisdom, perception, or intelligence investigation check if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn. That's kind of a strange caveat.
Well, that'll be happening a lot.
Oh, yeah. You just find yourself a perch and you're scoping things out. You're calculating. You're figuring it out. You're like trying to figure things out. Try to investigate, or if you guys
here anymore.
Then at 13th level, you get the unerring eye. If I said that right. Your senses are almost impossible to foil. As an action, you sense the presence of illusions, shape changers not in their original form, and other magic designed to deceive the senses within 30 feet of you, provided you aren't blinded or deafened. You sense that an effect is attempting to trick you, but you gain no insight as to what is hidden or into its true nature. But you know when someone's trying to pull the wool over your eyes or using illusions, which would make sense since you're an elf. You know, you should have kind of a nose for that.
Right.
You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. That's just gameplay stuff. And finally, if you live to 17th level, eye for weakness. You learn to exploit a creature's weaknesses by carefully studying its tactics and movement. While your insightful fighting feature applies to the creature, your sneak attack damage against that creature increases by 3d6. And you're like, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. At 17th level, it's a 9d6.
Hell yeah.
So if you use that, you can get a 12d6 sneak attack on top of the damage of the actual weapon. And at 20th level, they'll increase to 13d6. So yeah, rogues are notoriously broken, if you can say that. They've got downfalls, but they're quick, they're hard to hit, and they could kill you with a shot.
Right.
Which makes your inquisitive Zaya very dangerous when he wants to be.
Need to be.
Yeah, it's usually a life or death thing. It's like, am I in danger? Do I have to do something to get myself out of danger? I might do that, but
Can I have a vorpal sword?
Okay, don't make me tell the story.
The Ring of 9 Lives.
Yeah, no. It doesn't exist in this world.
Oh, boo. I'm sure it hasn't existed in a world since that happened.
Yeah, really. No, I haven't had a Vorpal sword show up since. And I will say, for gameplay, the Ring of 9 Lives right now belongs to a Tabaxi rogue, or a Ring of 9 Lives, Tabaxi rogue in my homebrew world. So it did make a comeback.
Lol.
Yeah, and I'm paying for that. Nope. I've killed him 3 times already, so it's all good.
Nice.
All right. So that's the subclass. They get all the cool stuff the rogue gets, which makes them an awesome creature, awesome character. Um Now let's run again. Now we'll leave that up. I'll read that later. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Description, anything you want to add to the character? Because everything you add is a part of the stew. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm. Think of anything, honestly.
Yeah, no, you gave me a lot of this information early on when we started talking about it.
Yeah.
And so I took what you gave me and ran with it. Obviously, I've done a
Which,
decent job at it because, yeah, you've agreed with everything.
yeah.
Um, I even, dude, I even have Panda every once in a while go, no, no. It happens. I get it wrong sometimes. But I think I've got a good handle on Zaya.
Yeah.
Um, he's gonna make it. He's gonna make an interesting fifth wheel, if you will.
Right. I think the most important things, and I'm sure I'm beating this like a dead horse.
Go ahead.
He doesn't like to fight. It's literally the last scenario, like the last case. If there is nowhere to run and there is nothing to distract with, fine.
Yep.
um, like, and that's even like I think he'd rather go to jail than fight.
Yeah. It's right now. Jail might be a dangerous thing in Coromir, at least,
That's true.
because if he's in the system, if you'll excuse the expression,
Hmm.
um, those that are chasing him will find him even easier.
Sure.
So maybe because it's a life and death situation, getting arrested,
Mm.
unless you've got a plan of action to get out.
So that would be, I think, his thinking is that I could just get my way out of here.
Yeah,
I'll find a way out.
that's fair because
Mhm.
rogues.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I got that.
Um, I almost want to say he doesn't even carry like a dagger. He's like just a ranged person, but he probably would have something in the event of needing a dagger.
Yeah,
Um, I believe like he would trust his information above everything. So like, if anybody said something to him, even if it's true, that goes against what he already believes, there's a good chance he will just not believe that.
I can see that.
He thinks everybody's in on the conspiracy. So
That
like
that works really well for the story.
it's like he doesn't trust anyone unless they prove themselves reputable. And that only happens if they say something that he later finds out himself. Like
Yeah,
it takes a lot for him to start to trust anyone.
it's kind of a. I'm from Missouri. Show me.
I want to see your ID.
Yeah, give me, give
You're
me.
an artificer. Make something.
Yeah,
Do it.
now.
Do it right now. Right here.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. With the swindler.
You better make it good too, right?
Yeah. And then I'll use that as payment.
Well, then
He's like
go ahead.
the stereotypical, like, I don't want to say goon character because he's more than just a goon, but
Oh
like
yeah,
the character where they're like, do you know where this guy went? And it's like, I don't know, maybe I do.
yeah. You gotta laugh. I
Yeah.
suppose, and I'm not talking about the movie, by the way. He may have been in the movie too. Starsky
Mhm.
and Hutch.
Okay.
You've seen the movie, right?
I haven't, no.
I haven't either. I used to watch the
Well,
show. Um, what was the name? The character? It doesn't matter what his name is. They had this one character that if they want information, they go to the street and talk to this one dude.
Yeah.
And he's just always had the skivvy. You know, he'd give him that little tidbit, maybe not a lot, just enough to get him on the right track. And I see Zaya as that kind of character that if you want to know something, you find this elf. He's in the know. He's well worth the gold. Pay him. He will tell you what you need to know.
I know just about everything there is to know about everybody worth knowing about. And if I don't know you, well, you're just not that important, then are you?
That's fair. And the fun part is, since I'm playing him as an NPC, and I know everything that's going on. Yeah, I have to temper, of course, what he knows versus what I know, as always.
Right.
But he could really be on the know, and there'll be information that may come out as the game goes that he knew all along, but he never volunteered it because why should I?
A, you never asked. B, I just.
What do I know? I'm just a simple elf who knows everything. I'm just an elf. Anyway.
Kind of see him having like the sarcasm of Toph from Avatar.
Yeah. I definitely could see that. Yeah.
Unlike Toph from Avatar.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down sarcasm.
Oh yeah. in spades.
He's definitely gonna be that character that most of the rest of them are going to end up learning to hate.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Irritation at best.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I'm gonna make him work with him.
I think the more you can get paid for information that will eventually get them in trouble. I didn't lie to you, but I also didn't tell you what was around the corner. Why? You didn't ask.
You're going to learn to ask. And how do you ask? With a little gold.
Yes, more than a little.
Yeah, he's going to be a hard one to have be a team player. That's for sure.
It's got to really benefit him to be a team player.
Because everyone's got their secrets. And that's one of the reasons I haven't sat down like this with Panda's character, because it's like, okay, how much do I want?
Yeah. Because
we're going to slow burn his story.
Right.
And even Lexi's character's story.
Right.
Step's character is pretty easy and straightforward. Halkins is also pretty easy and straightforward.
Right.
And there'll be things about their past that will come up along the way that will all connect. But everybody's got their secrets. Everybody's got things they don't tell anybody else. Obviously, that's life. You think you know everything? Do you really think you know me? No. There's always little tidbits you didn't know about somebody. And especially in this game. They don't go around announcing their traumas and lost loves and the things in their past that's smart. It's all there, but if it's connected to the story, it'll come out when it comes out.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really excited about this. I really am. It's taken us a while to get to that, but I've had a lot of study to do. I remember playing in Faerun back in 3 and 3.5. And I'm looking at the map and I'm seeing Westgate. Westgate is where you fought the vampire. Because Westgate was full of vampires at that point. You guys were just in the process of maybe sorting some of that out and getting a big bad taken care of. But Westgate was the town. I'm sitting there looking at it. It's right across the what they call the Dragon Mirror, which is the big lake inlet from the sea south of Coromir. So, I don't know. I don't have any plans to go to Westgate, but it could happen. You never know.
Right.
But anyway, 3.5, and then I started looking at the information. I pull from everywhere. I look at everything from 1st to 5th edition, lore mainly, and things. And I found tidbits that I'm like, oh, oh, I've got to use that. That's to my benefit to use.
Right.
And so I realized real fast that I knew everything and nothing about Faerun.
Yeah.
So it's been a learning experience, and but the more I think I've got a comprehensive story that should be pretty compelling. I'm hoping it is. It's a lot of mystery and intrigue. Not there'll be combat. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
this group really isn't uh, your dungeon merc squad. Um, they're more of a finesse. They do have the dwarf and
Mhm.
and and Panda's character is very um, I was going to say militant. I guess that's martial is what I meant to say.
Right.
He knows his weapons and he, and he uses them well. But the rest of you, I'm not sure, are all that powerful. Not yet, at least. Of course, your character, the rogue, will become more and more dangerous as time goes on. But yeah,
Right.
I've got to be careful where I drop you guys. I can't treat you like a dungeon crawl group. Um, you're not murder hobos.
Yeah.
You're not. Everybody got a weapon, hack and slash, and destroy everything. They've got to be a little more careful, uh, and I have to be a little more careful. So it's going to be interesting the kind of gameplay we have, what kind
Yeah.
of dangers you guys get into, and how you handle it. And if we lose anybody along the way, who knows?
Right. I
But
think the only other thing that I
mhm.
could think of that should be at least thought about, maybe not talked about right here or anything,
Sure.
is what is the end goal? Why exactly is Zaya looking for these answers?
Hmm.
Is it some sort of power grab? Because it can't just be, I just want to know.
Yeah. I think. I'm
Is
here.
there, does he want to like dethrone them for whatever reason?
Well, that would
Does
be
he,
yeah. He would love because he may have made inroads to try to connect with the gold feathers, and the gold feathers aren't having anything to do with him.
right.
So that's one thing. They've slighted him a bit,
Hmm.
and something's going on, and he just loves digging out a mystery,
Yeah.
even if it means besmirching the Queen Mother's name.
Yeah.
That's just bonus.
Yeah. I do also think there should be some semblance of money. It's like there should probably be a money reason. Whether that's somebody in the court is looking for answers as well, and
Yes.
Zaya knows that and hasn't exactly talked to said person, but has taken it on himself to find those answers.
Well, he would know. I'll tell you right off the bat before we even get started playing. He would already know that there are still factions within the nobles that still are scratching their heads and questioning and kind of look at her with a side eye a little bit like, what is going on here? Am I in upside down world or something? When did the gold feathers end up in charge? The crown silvers were one of them mentioned that tried to stop the wedding in a covert kind of way, but she knows, and
Right.
she finds every chance to put them next. So they're still going to be a little sore about that, and still wanting if they could find something on her. I'm sure there's a lot of the Crown Silver's gold that would go into getting that information, and you know this.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
there may be other families that would pay you. Almost get in a bidding war with some of them, maybe,
Right.
but especially the Crown Silvers because they're
Basically, sell the power to the highest bidder.
yeah, basically. It could be, yeah, it could be interesting seeing the motives and the way you go about it versus the rest of them and how this turns out. Because
Hmm.
that's why you don't share a lot of information with these guys because you don't know where they're going to end up or if they're going to let things out of the bag. You try to be real careful with it. Uh, but they are learning things on their own. But you're there, you're absorbing everything. You're cataloging all this information, and there's going to be a lot of information happening here.
Hmm.
something pretty big. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
All right. I think we've got it pretty covered. Um, we should be the next 2 or 3 weeks. We should be hitting Tuesday nights with the game. I'm trying to keep it controlled to the point that it doesn't go forever. I would like to, get a good year, maybe a little more, and work to something else. But I'm trying to keep it controlled, is what I'm saying, organized. So we'll see how it goes.
Right.
Okie dokie. Well, I think I'm done. Unless you've got anything else to ask or say.
No, I think I've covered it.
Cool.
Reading your title, I think it's supposed to be a Hari, by the way.
I see. I knew when I put that up there.
Yeah.
That I probably wrote it down wrong to begin with.
Yeah.
Is it spelled right?
Probably. I don't know.
I can work on that because I don't like the way it looks. I don't mind the way it sounds. So maybe I can find a fancier way of doing that.
Harii, maybe.
Possibly. Maybe
apostrophe Harii.
Yeah, that's funny. I just wrote that on there, which basically makes it almost like an I,
or Ihari.
Ihari. It's sort of a breath at the beginning or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to work on that. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I like playing with names and seeing how they look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
trying to think of the character I have in my head, and I don't even remember what it was from. But basically, I just thought of this. I want him to have like pet names for everybody, and the more annoyed they are of their pet name, the better. Like, I don't want him to learn any of their names unless it becomes important to do so. Like, whenever he finds them to be important enough to remember, is when he learns their actual name.
Yeah, and you get that 1 point of semi-respect. I don't know if that's the word for it. And it's sort of like, okay, I know you haven't watched Ms. Marvel, right?
No.
There's, of course, her character, who's the main character, sort of like a Spider-Man character. She's a superhero teenager trying to figure things out. And she's got this friend who's like a scientist kind of guy. He's going out to California. It's not MIT, but anyway, he's going to he's getting ready to go to big school, and they meet this real suave, good-looking Indian dude.
Right.
And he never gets the guy's name right through the whole story.
Right.
It calls him everything under the book, and you can see it in the face of the guy. He's like, no, it's this. Can't you get my name right? And then at the end of the story, he has to come to that character for help. And without being asked to or even thinking about it, he calls him his right name. And it's like, you get that point in the story, you're like, now he knows who he is. He respects him. That kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
That's what I think about.
Do you remember Tropic Thunder? I remember where I thought of this from.
I know Tropic Thunder. I have never watched it.
This is the nerdy white character that's with him, and they never get his name right until the very end.
Yeah.
They keep calling him different names.
Isn't that at the time he died? I don't know what.
Does he die? No, he doesn't die.
That's different. I was thinking something else. Never mind.
But yeah, just tell him, Sinkleski. Tell him what time it is. The stupid line that comes into mind.
Ah, there he is. Zaya Orihara.
Orihara. Yeah.
There it is. Okay. I'm going to have to watch a little bit just to see this guy.
Yeah. I also plan on making you a bit of a playlist.
Oh, yes. That's one thing I definitely want. I've been picking up songs on my own for some of the characters. That's how I write. I drive. Okay, if you guys don't know, I deliver for a living. And so I half the time I'm out in a van running around the streets of Tulsa.
Yeah.
Beware. Anyway, and it's like I'll pop a playlist in, and sometimes I have to turn it down because I start talking. I start thinking about the storyline. I start working through things. And music is especially one way that I do that because I'll hear a song and it's like I'm thinking, and even to this day, I hear one of the songs off the old playlist and I think of my homebrew world and the story that was going on, or a character. It's very important. So, yes, long story short, I definitely want a playlist. We talked about it Saturday. I definitely want you to send me a list
Okay.
because I'm probably going to start splitting off the different things and making more than one playlist because it's getting a little thick.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, um, also podcast. What was it? Anchor, which is connected to Spotify.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the rules yet, but they have a podcast system that allows you to use some of their music off of Spotify. So I really hope I'm able to use some of those songs down the road when we learn the characters and things are revealed about them. We can drop music that we can sit. We may even have whole sessions where we stop and talk about playlist songs.
Right.
If that, yeah. But anyway, I think we're done. I got a lot of study to do. I think I'm going to cut it short so I can get back to it.
Okay.
I appreciate it. If you have any other ideas, anything that you forgot to say, just you know how to get a hold of me, buddy.
Yep.
All right, folks.
That playlist, is it cool if I send it to you in YouTube and you could just find the songs
Yeah,
later?
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I do everything on YouTube, so
that's fine. I do everything on Spotify.
except
So there we
except
go.
for streaming, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious. As married as you are to YouTube, compared to the rest of us, of course, we just jumped over to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Facebook is almost dead to us right now. Really irritates the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I still haven't got back on. Got to get with steps. I still haven't got back on. I changed computers. Got a new
Mm-hmm.
computer, and suddenly I can't get on anything. And I still haven't heard from him about the logins for
Fun times.
Reddit. Yeah, and I'm just getting back to Twitter because Facebook's ticked me off for the last time, I think. But yeah, good times. And Steven Steps is talking about possibly before as we go into this game, if we have to change a lot of our social media because of all this psychotic, we may just rebrand a little bit. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway,
I
that's
really think it's probably for the best.
yeah. Uh,
I think you guys are way more into the D&D side of things
oh
than
yeah.
you are MTG. And on that, I mean, I don't know the community well. I know there's Critical Role is a massive thing, but
Oh yes.
like
There's
I'm
lots of stuff out there. I could name several of them,
right,
but yeah, it's definitely I've played D&D since all my grown life.
right.
Um, I was just really just coming of age in college. I was a kid when I went to college and got sucked into my first D&D dungeon crawly type game, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been DMing ever since. I played a little bit, but here and there, but mostly DM'd. But yeah, you're right. Uh, we although we get excited about storyline and MTG and a lot of things they're doing, they made an announcement that they had some kind of project that was D&D slash MTG related. They were going to talk about real soon, and they had three shadowy celebrities or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or people going to talk about it. Steps thought the middle guy looked like Matt Mercer, but it may not be. Um, I don't think it's Exandria related. It's D&D and MTG. So they're either going to make another MTG set from D&D. They should do it once a year anyway. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've got all the access to the artwork and everything. They might as well. But this may possibly be another book coming out from a Magic the Gathering playing setting.
Yeah.
I told him today, he hadn't responded, but I told him today that it would make sense if they dropped Dominaria as a setting, since they're spending 2 whole sets of MTG in Dominaria, past and present. But who knows?
Right.
We'll find out in good time. So there's a lot of cool stuff, and we're still really excited and interested in it. But you can't keep up with all of it.
Yeah, you can't keep up with it and do the D&D stuff. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it's too, albeit they're from the same company and there's some intermingling between the two of them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still so much. They throw so much shit at us.
Especially MTG. They've just flooded the market. And there's nothing to compete with it, so it just keeps making money.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And ever since we started talking about that, I've been more and more prone. I used to write speculation articles about the upcoming sets and what might happen lore wise, and I just haven't been able to get excited about that this year.
Fair.
Which a little irritates me because those articles did so well.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you could regrow an audience pretty quick, especially. And you could just jump on Twitter, man. You guys should just jump on Twitter, start finding every D&D thing you could say anything about, and just flood Twitter until you get followers for it. That's what I did.
I got you. Yeah, I'm headed back there. The problem is, I've got to change my phone out. We know that. We've known that for a while. I've been dragging my feet on that. The new computer can do whatever I need it to do, but the phone needs help.
Right.
And the running gun kind of feeling, being able to jump on and do things quickly. And now that I can't go on and post on the Magic Tavern for whatever reason, which they won't tell me. They don't give me a reason. It's just making up our minds for us on a lot of things.
Sometimes that's what you need, right?
Hey, I'll take that as a sign. Because we, like I said, we can regrow an audience. Pretty quickly. We had only gotten up to 1,200 followers on Facebook, which is like the first little hump you need to get over.
Yeah.
But then about that time, suddenly everything I did was like walking through Jello. And then suddenly I couldn't do anything. So anyway.
Yeah, the Facebook's kind of been a cesspool to me for a while, so I literally only get on it for Messenger at this point.
I forget who I was talking to. Maybe it was one of my grandkids. Somebody basically, I think it was somebody else, a real young person was like, yeah, Facebook's been dead for a while. It's not the place anymore.
It's the old people social media. It's for all the oldest.
Yeah, it's the way it works. You know, new social stuff comes out, the kids get excited about it, the old people invade it, and they leave and go find something else.
For all you boomers go for.
Oh, well, there it is.
Lol.
All right, on that, I'll leave you to it. We'll be back Thursday night playing Magic just because I like to make decks and I like to play.
I like the decks too.
What's that?
Nothing. What?
Excuse me?
What?
I've got a is it the rainbow deck I was playing? I've got a rainbow deck I built with some of the hideaways and other things that are rainbowy. It wasn't doing that great.
You really want the rainbow hideaway thing to work.
Yeah, I know. Was it stop trying to make the Rainbow Hideaway thing work?
Yeah,
It's never gonna work. um,
the cards are just too different, man.
yeah, you're right. That's exactly.
The red ones would work with a bunch of them, but yeah.
I'm trying to remember
The red one is you get a treasure token every time you play a
Oh yeah,
multicolored card.
oh yeah, that's the one the
And
main one I'm
you
working
can
off of.
pay all the main colors. You get your hideaway card for free.
Let's see, it was toward the end. Oh, it was my mono red deck that I built.
Hmm.
Super damage, quick, almost aggro. Not really. It's not aggro if you've got a bunch of 4/4s and giants in it. They got Terror of the Peaks in there. Dorsooth. Draxooth, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun.
Yeah.
I'll probably post that video. Go straight to YouTube with it as is what we're probably headed for.
I'm just doing my daily challenges until rotation happens.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, it's what I've been.
Not even fucking with it.
About everything time I do, they give me a chance to breathe. I'm building historic decks.
Yeah.
I mean, once I run out of Capenna things to do and got kind of bored with it, I go back to historic.
Mm-hmm.
And so just mess around, try some new things. Anywho, we'll be back Thursday playing Magic about the same time, around 8ish. I'll be back here next Tuesday talking D&D of some sort within the next 3. It won't be next week, but in 2 to 3 weeks we'll start playing. We're not going to hold up any longer. I know the first arc, and that's what I need to know.
Right.
And so we can get that started and introduce some of these characters and see your elf in action.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can make him as much of an asshole as you could. I doubt it.
If I could put all my energy into it, it would be a lot of fun. I just don't want to like ruin it because I'm like barely here, you know.
I understand. No, I understand.
I got so much going on.
Your input goes a long way because, like I said, you made him a character that was indispensable to the storyline suddenly.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. But anyway, I will talk with you later, and everybody else, I'll see you Thursday. And till then, get out there and play something. Get on Arena. Yeah. Find some friends. Play mess up some D&D. You can't mess it up. That's the whole point. Get out there and just play, mess around, burn a world down, have fun. Until then, we'll see you Thursday.